Okay, so this is a funny one. So one of the highlights for me was being flown over to Milan with you for that fashion show performance.
Where you're going with this?
I know, and it went so horribly wrong that first night. We're out drinking at that top fashion designers, I won't say his name, private members bar, and the drinks were insanely expensive. You went to buy champagne because you're like, we're gonna celebrate. But then when you went to get the champagne, they like quoted you something like 35 euros per glass. And you're like, this is insane. Pour it back in the bottle. So you got into a really bad mood. Then you said to me, you're going to go for a smoke. So you went for a smoke, disappeared. I'm like 20 minutes later, I'm like sitting around this place by myself, like, where is he? So I go upstairs and it was one of the Paddingtons outside. He was like, the last time I saw Dan Sartain was being chased down the street by two bouncers. And you were just gone.
It was 5, actually.
You're kidding me. You were gone. And so I was literally going out of my mind. Judy was over there with us. I was freaking out because I remember at those times you'd come, like when we were traveling, a lot of the times you wouldn't even pay attention to what hotel we were staying at. So I'm like, he's not even going to know where to go back. I'm not even sure if he clocked which hotel we're at this time. You just come, do whatever you're doing, go play the show, whatever. And I'm like, and we just arrived as well when we left. So it wasn't like we were there and we checked out the area. We taxied in and we were going to be taxiing back home. So she's like, come back. Let's just go back and wait for him at the hotel. Because by this time, I think I waited till like 2 a.m. at the club and you didn't come back. So then I sat in the lobby and I think it was like 4 a.m. you walk through, like double doors parted. Here you come, you got a towel around your neck, which I never understood where you got the towel from. Bloody eye. What happened? I never asked you, and then I put you to bed because you were like kind of shaken with the performance in the morning. So you kind of briefly told me what happened, and I remember running lavender in your room and filling the bathroom sink with like lavender drops and hot water so the steam would go into your room, and I left you to sleep. And then the next day took over. What happened that night?
Okay. So you were right about the drinks. It was like $35 for like, or 35 euro.
Yeah.
Which outweighed the dollar.
Yeah.
At the time for wine or beer. And it was like 75 euro for a glass of liquor.
Oh, wow.
I didn't need either one at that point. But when in Rome, or when in Milan, rather, I wanted it. But do you remember the group Right Said Fred? That was the bald guys with like the mesh shirts, and they're like, too sexy for my shirt.
Yeah.
Too sexy for my shirt. They were like playing AC/DC.
Yeah.
And these two guys that looked just like the Right Said Fred guys were over there, and they were like doing this, and they were like fashion guys. And it was stupid of me because I was still like with this punk rock ethos, like, this is not where I come from. What am I doing? And it's like, if I really felt like that, then I shouldn't have even gotten on the plane. But I got on the plane and I went over there and I saw these guys and they were dancing to like, and for whatever reason, I felt like I owned AC/DC. Like this is like white trash trailer park music. Like this is what people that like fix their own cars under a shade tree. This is like, and I was like, you fucking like fashion weirdos are like appropriating my redneck culture. And I remember like starting to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
And they would come and tell me to put them out, and I would kind of defiantly put them out. And then I would just keep doing it, and every time they would come over and they'd tell me to put it out.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Genneah, let's get the fuck out of here. And you were like, hey, I'm enjoying it.
I wasn't even there because you went upstairs. I wasn't with you. You went upstairs.
I went out downstairs. And then I split. I went upstairs.
Yeah.
And on the way out, there was a lamp.
Yeah.
And I just smashed this lamp like Sid Vicious.
Yeah.
and just being a prick. Being a prick. I feel bad about it now. It's still one of my favorite stories, but I don't have that in me now. Now I would have the good sense to have said, thanks, but no thanks.
Yes.
But instead, I invited myself into this world thinking that I'm the most punk rock, legit person that ever lived.
Yeah.
Because I'm 20-something and I got my own head up my ass.
Yeah.
So I smashed his lamp. And then I'm walking out and I'm trying to get a taxi.
Yeah.
And a bouncer goes, excuse me, sir. And I tried to play it off like, I don't understand you. I'm from Red. I can't hear you. I'm getting in this cab.
Yeah.
And I knew damn well what he was after me about. He was after me because I smashed that lamp.
Yeah. And it was an extremely exclusive private members bar as well.
So it's probably a really nice lamp.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. So they said, stand behind this velvet rope. We got to go talk to management about this.
Yeah.
And I was like, no handcuffs, no muscle to hold me back. This velvet rope is supposed to hold me back. So I jump over this velvet rope.
Yeah.
And I'm hauling ass. Fully drunk through Milan. No idea where I'm going.
Yeah.
Fast my drunken feet will take me. And I feel a hand reach, and I had a navy pea coat.
Yeah.
And they grabbed my coat, and I just shucked that coat off like a gecko would shuck off its tail.
Yeah.
I kept running into the night, and it was brisk and cool. And then I went, my passport was in that jacket. I have to go back.
Oh my God.
So I go back. And I'm like, give me back my coat. Give me back my coat. And they give me back the coat. And then they put me behind the same velvet rope. Nobody on either side of me. No handcuffs. They showed me some kind of badges.
Yeah.
And I was like, jumped over the rope again. I'm hauling ass again. And then there's 5 bouncers behind me.
Yeah.
I'm outrunning the 4 of them.
Yeah.
And the last one, I go, I give up.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a heart attack. This was all fun and everything, but I'm ready to go back and face the music.
Yeah.
I thought that he would be gentlemanly about it.
Yeah.
I thought that he would just take me back, but I ran far enough away from the club to where I was in a darkened alleyway or something. And this guy beat the shit out of me.
Oh my God.
And I didn't deserve to get hit that much.
Yeah.
But I deserved to get my ass kicked.
Oh my God.
I'm very proud that I didn't go down. He never knocked me out. But he was a very big man with very big fists.
Yeah.
I believe he had some kind of professional training. I didn't even put up my dukes or nothing like that. I didn't block myself. I just kept absorbing the punches, and I was like, hey, man, it's all right. And then wham, 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 wham.
Oh God.
And I knew it was bad. And then I was like, hey, he finally quit hitting me because I wasn't hitting him back.
Yeah.
I wasn't resisting. I was just like, I just want to run.
Yeah.
I just want to flee. But if you're going to beat the shit out of me, just do it. And he realized I wasn't going to attack him back. Yeah. And then I wiped my face, and then my whole eyebrow came off. Half my eyebrows in my hands. Oh my God. Oh. So they take me back to the club, and they don't take me behind the velvet rope this time. In front. They kept me across the street. I remember. I think I was in handcuffs. But they kept me hidden from everywhere else because they didn't want people coming out of the club seeing someone beaten to a bloody pulp.
Yeah.
And I realized they came out eventually, it felt like an eternity, but it was probably about 20 or 40 minutes sitting on that spot.
Well, you were gone for hours.
Yeah. But I guess they went inside and had a little team meeting, and they were like, they probably told that guy that beat the shit out of me, he could sue us.
Yeah. And also, you were the reason why, or you're one of the reasons why that whole party happened. So, like, you're the act. So there's, I imagine there was a bit of nerve.
They can smash their fucking lamps.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I deserved an ass kicking that night.
But still, that was too much. That was too much.
Yeah, but they were also thinking of covering their ass, like, this guy could come, and I don't know if our friend at Vogue, Marilena, sweet talked anybody. I don't know what conversation they had, but eventually they came out and they were just like, all right, you can go.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that as the privilege.
So where did you get the towel from? This is my question that I've always had these years. Where did the towel come from? You walk through with a bloody towel over your shoulders. It's like, where did you get the towel?
They might have shown enough mercy to give me a towel. I don't know, but yeah, they might have shown enough mercy to give me a towel.
Jesus, man, that was like...
I looked like the end of a Rocky movie.
You totally did. Like, literally, we're sitting downstairs, like, in the lobby, doors parted, here you come with a towel over your neck, face just blood. It's just...
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I deserve to have my little ass kicked.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That was crazy. All right, well...
But I do remember... I'm sorry if I embarrass you. Hold on one second. I'm going to get something. But yeah, I got a little bit of sore throat, so I've been downing these like honey packets from Popeyes.
Okay. Yeah. What?
But I wanted you to hold me so bad. I wanted my mom. I did try to look after you. I remember. I'm sure I cleaned your face. I thought I cleaned your face, and then I did that whole thing was I had all this aromatherapy in my room. So I came down, I remember going into your room and pouring like drops of lavender into the sink and pouring like really hot water on it so that the lavender will go into your room and just calm you down. Because you were shaken, you were so shaken, and you said you were fine. I think from memory, you said you were fine, you just wanted to go to sleep. So I just left you there. I was a bit nervous. I didn't know what to do, and it's, yeah. I'm sorry I put you in that position. I'm sorry I didn't that for what it was. And I'm sorry that I tried to own AC/DC like they're not one of the most famous bands in the world. AC/DC's for everyone. AC/DC's for people dancing in a club in Milan. It's not just for shade tree mechanic rednecks. That's my Alabama and me. Those are the kind of people that listen to AC/DC where I'm from. And I felt like one of those.
But then that became like, one of the things that like, one of my favorite stories and one of my favorite looking back, like out of like the hijinks of my career, that was one of them. It was hilarious.
I outran those cops 2 times. The other guy was even still behind me when I gave up.
Gave up.
But I was just like, I figured that he would just say, all right.
Now you know. Now just keep running.
Or not smash a lamp.
There you go. Yeah.
I could have wound up locked up abroad or something, but I think that they realized that they beat the shit out of me.
Well, I guess, and Vogue was behind it, so it was they'll probably we've just like destroyed one of the artists from Vogue. But yeah, who knows? Different countries, different rules.
I think the thing we're leaving out too is that I was on television the next day.
Yeah, I know, but like with an eye patch, everyone was like, "Oh my God, this eye patch is amazing." It's like you don't know the story behind it. Oh my God!
Oh man, I've gotten punched a lot.
Well, has being an artist and your journey in it given you a more profound insight into the lives, careers, and internal worlds of any of your own heroes or any of the artists that you admire?
living or dead?
Either.
Well, right now, I'm sitting in my barber shop, and I went and found another career that I could prove myself in. But right now, I feel bad for my friends that are career musicians.
Yeah.
And people have been paying attention to them since they were teenagers.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for my friends that never acquired another skill.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Music was always very kind to them, but like I said, I was, the whole time we were working together, I would come back and I would work some crappy job at a dollar store or some kind of bar and grill or I was always, there was always a working class side. But yeah, I being like solo artist and rotating band members as often as I do, it makes me feel lonely.
Yeah.
And not to compare myself to Elvis, but he did the same thing. So Elvis was the only one on that journey.
Yeah.
The Beatles, they had 4 other guys to go through it with. Like I didn't experience anything like Beatlemania or what Elvis went through.
Yeah.
But like, it's lonesome.
Yeah.
It's sometimes lonesome.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's and trying to relate and understand. A lot of times it's made me feel like some other artists were a little bit of whiny bitches.
Yeah.
That didn't when people come back from Los Angeles or New York or London and they're like, oh, it's fake, the entertainment industry's fake, all these people are fake, and it's like, I think it's your expectations that were unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because I've met a lot of genuine people in these major cities, including yourself.
Yeah.
And they've been good friends of mine for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I found that some of my friends at home were the fake ones.
Yeah. So going back to what you're saying about your journey and just like the loneliness of it, that I find that is quite tough, right? I mean, I've noticed you have, they're either like, you get bands that have been together for ages and there are bands, and usually what I've seen happens a lot of the times is that a split will happen in the band, and that's got to be lonely as well when like you started off as like maybe 4 amigos, 5 amigos, and suddenly like you hate each other, or there's 2 people, which is usually the front 2, it's usually always the front 2 or the 2 songwriters who hate each other. And bands that I've loved that I heard like by the end were like flying in separate planes because they couldn't even be in the same plane together. Where there's I've heard of a very 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 big famous band where that's the case, and if you go in there like in a business way, you have to have someone neutral introduce you, because if that person introduces you, the other person will hands down just shut it down. So you've got like such fractures. But then also like looking at people who like saw the height. I mean, like you've gone on a journey and you've gone on it on your own. And even when it's done at like a level where, people are routinely playing to like hundreds of thousands of people, whatever. And that loneliness is there. It's hard to witness because also the people around them change. So their own friends change towards them. I don't know if you've had that where like, so even if they do have, sometimes the friends are on the tour or the friends are around, but the friends don't really know how to fully interact with the artist. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. And I feel like that must be quite lonely as well.
Like I said, you find out who your friends are.
Yeah. I think it's hard, I mean, even as a manager, I found it lonely just going on that journey as well, because I found that my favorite position or my favorite moment was when I was, you know, like not the manager, not the boss, when I was like one under the boss. So that I could always hand it over. Because that way you could always be one of the guys, you could be hanging out, you can be doing stuff. The minute you become the boss, everyone kind of you're on tour and everyone kind of goes out together. They don't really know if they kind of like, you know, it's weird going in. And there is that thing like, oh, she pays the wages. So kind of, you know, we're just going to do this over here, or you know, maybe they want to go bitch about the artist, they don't want to do it in front of me. It's a weird lonely life that I feel like the whole music thing, which is why I think if you have that capability to drop out and do another job, or you've got that in you where your ego isn't so inflated that you can just do whatever to get along, and that keeps you grounded in the real world, I think that helps keep you happier, if that makes sense. I think that's a very important skill.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe it should be a requirement that once you reach a certain level of success in the music industry, that you have to go be a bag boy at a grocery store or something to keep it balanced. I don't know.
I remember when I hit the point where I was like the most successful, and I remember buying buying property, like was, you know, very expensive property, and kind of like having property in central London and being really happy about that. But I owned another property that, like, you know, like the mortgage was so insane, I was still had another property that I was like Airbnb-ing, and I try and get like, you know, cleaners to come in between people, but you know, every so often the cleaner would let me down and I'd have to drive over to that property and be cleaning the toilet. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what, it's probably good for your ego that, you know, you're still required every so often to clean up someone else's shit to keep the other, you know, expensive property going. That kind of leveling, I don't know, I mean, it might be just be what it is, but I feel like, I don't know, I like to have one foot on the ground in, as well, and not get too much off into the air of airy fairyland, because it's not real. None of it's real. The money's real, the pressure is real, but the kind of elevation is based on a lot of just projection, I guess.
I feel like I've had my feet on the ground long enough to where I want to get back into it and can be realistic about it.
Yeah.
I'm so eager to play again.
And do you think, I probably think you probably enjoy it now as well, with everything that's gone on after for all the like experiences you've had. Do you think it'll be even more of a pleasure to go out on the road, or don't you know the difference? Yeah.
Yes. Even though I was still a pretty young performer when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
I did notice a shift in the zeitgeist, because in the 90s, our nation wasn't at war.
Yeah.
Of course, we had our problems.
Yeah.
Like we all do. But like, people were a little snobbier. It was still that kind of like, how many Sonic Youth and Pixies imports do you have? do you have the whole collection of this Sub Pop rarities thing? It was like everybody was a record store guy, and they were looking down their nose at you and, you know, making fun of your shoes. And then after 9/11 happened, it seemed like somebody would show up to a show with a mustache and would be like, "Oh my God, your mustache is hilarious!"
Yeah.
Or you've got a T-shirt of a kitty cat.
Yeah.
Oh, hilarious! Like, and then everybody let their guard down.
Yeah.
And everybody have fun again, and we were like not as judgmental, and we were able to make jokes.
Yeah.
We were able to be silly and able to, you know, the designer drugs were good and getting better. The weed was getting better. And we were just having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So now I think that when we're able to go back to clubs and have live music, that we're going to be so starved for it that it's going to be great. And I've seen a few shows since the pandemic.
Yeah.
But it's all been like outside stages, socially distanced kind of thing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they were the kind of shows that I would have avoided before this. But just because it was like, sure, I'm gonna watch this soft jazz ensemble. I'm gonna watch this like indie band that I've seen 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And it was just great.
Yeah.
It was just great to hear somebody tuning a guitar.
Yeah. Yeah. We were very, I mean, I feel like the good thing about this pandemic, if you know, there's a lot of horrible, but I think it's given us a bit of a reset button to actually realize how privileged we were to have entertainment be such a huge part of our lives, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, we weren't just kind of like out in the field all day and we had to come back and just go to sleep because we had to be up in the morning. A lot of us live lives where, you know, there was routine entertainment. And when you work in this world and you're able to live from it and make money off it and you're doing something you love, that's an incredible privilege. And I think, you know, I can't wait to go see shows. I mean, when I was working in the industry, I got so like just exhausted of seeing live music. There were times where I wouldn't even want to go see bands if I kind of liked them, or even if I liked them, it's like, oh, I don't need to see another show. Like I've seen so many shows. I think coming out a bit, having a baby, stepping out, suddenly like not even really having a moment to have a thought in my head because you're just on full on with it. And then having the pandemic on top of that, it's like, wow, the idea of being at a concert. I mean, I was watching a film the other day and they just had a shot, like it was an instant shot of a woman walking up the steps with her hand on the handrail. And I'm like, oh my God, must that feel like to actually be out and able to touch surfaces? Like our way of life has changed so much. And it's nice to kind of, I feel like when things happen and they're not catastrophic to you, but it allows you to have like gratitude or an appreciation of your life and things that you have, that's always a bonus, right? And it colors everything else you do with more happiness when you do it, instead of just taking it for granted. Or I feel like I spent most of my music career just stressed and anxious, like to just do stuff and be like, yeah, but that's age as well, really. Like, yeah, whatever, that comes with age.
Yeah. Well, now I guess I'm looking at it more of a privilege and not a right.
Yeah.
And it was never a right, but it was like, I was young and arrogant and get the fuck out of my way. It's my
And awesome, Dan. You were awesome. You were so awesome. I mean, my God, you still are. But that kind of, I mean, we got to get to some of these questions. I keep segueing. But you know, some of the stories with you were just unbelievably hilarious. Okay, one of my favorite clips in the film, Western Hills, we're going back because I know you've got a new release coming, is a rawhide recording with your dad singing with you. That's so awesome. He's got such a great voice. That video is phenomenal. Was he ever an artist too? Is he an artist?
I don't think he would call himself an artist.
Yeah.
I've never heard him write a song.
Yeah.
But he's always been able to duplicate and do anything. My mother is a creative one. She's can see a vision and make something out of nothing. It's in the visual medium.
Yeah.
But my father doesn't write. He mimics.
He's got a great voice.
He's very good at it.
Yeah.
He's twice the musician that I'll ever be, as far as picking out harmonies, and he's a good entertainer.
Yeah.
I definitely caught the bug from him, but he was never really able to help me with writing.
Yeah.
But if it's like, hey, I need somebody to pick out a harmony, and it's like, well, who would you like it to sound like? Would you like it to sound like the Beatles? Would you like it to sound like the Jordanaires? Would you like it to sound like Crosby, Stills, Nash? He was that generation, you know?
Yeah.
Would you like to sound like the Beach Boys? And then he can do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I don't think he would call himself an artist.
Yeah.
But he is definitely an entertainer.
Yeah.